Honorable Isaac Mahoy continues saying, violence and degrading of pornographic media products serve to negatively impact women and their participation in the society. The declaration is say provide seeing them for address, some of them challenge here. And for sake of this, make the government to a ministry they adopt the gender equality and women empowerment policy inside 2018. And they wouldn't benefit from the work. When media matters for women, people at different areas them inside the country in share the testimony. The event may climax with an exciting news from media matters for women Sierra Leone. Reporting for HandsofHope Radio 100.5 FM, Nina Erika with Bangura.
All right, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the program today, 90 minutes, live on HandsofHope Radio 100.5 FM in Freetown. And you can also get us live on our Facebook page, HandsofHope Radio 100.5 FM, the Umadem Radio, and also on our YouTube channel, HandsofHope Radio, and on our Instagram page, at HandsofHope Radio. And we still have with us in the studio the communications director who is no other person but Joseph Vincent for the Youth Climate Action Network Sierra Leone, and we are talking on the topic youth-led solutions for climate change resilience in Sierra Leone. Over to you, Joseph. Collaboration is often key in addressing such crucial issue. So you made mention that you work with organizations, and you made mention of the city council. So we have the EPA, we have the disaster management agency. How do you collaborate with those organizations and other partners, even international partners, in order to for you to be able to enhance the reach and effectiveness of this initiative?
Yeah, I think even though we have some limitations, and so we have young organizations. which we do partner with also. But most of the times when big organizations like YADO, like the ministry and other organization, when they come up with such programs, symposium, like talk on some of these issues, they do normally invite us. So some of us who are part of the executive will be there to see how best we can learn. And after getting some ideas, trainings and all, we go back to our various organizations. We go there and see how best we can discuss some of these issues and how can we reach out the landman inside them. We say, okay, let's use this direction, let's use this direction. And as of now, we have not been able to get in touch with any international partners except for those that are coming to Sierra Leone. And once they reach the ministry and other organizations, they do to us invitations. And so
Alright, so with all this, how do you normally use the media and communication to, in order to mobilize support, raise awareness about climate change? Because as a communicator director, your role is very, very key.
yeah, I think most of the times we say, okay, this will be a drive for the next 1 month.
Okay.
Like we send this to every forum. Like imagine if you're able to plant just a tree, just one tree. Like the impact it will make in the community. We try to see how best we can like enlighten people in those areas and to see how best they can not only listen to these things that we say, but we put ourselves in the position to start with. And after which we try to see how best we can reach them. And most of the times we also let's say for instance we do visibility studies. Okay, let's say communities like in Poti those swampy areas. We have communities in Poti. Like we talk to those people that are part of this community. We engage them. We show them on how we can plant some of these things and how they too cannot like just eat some of these mangoes and throw the seeds. But they can put them together, find the plastic wherein they can dip them, and after sometimes once they germinate, they can find a suitable place in the community that they can plant it.
Alright, so in a place like Sierra Leone where resources are limited, what are some of the challenges you do face in the implementation of climate change resilience in communities with regards to the activities you undertake?
Yeah, there are so much challenges, so much because what we are even earning is not enough for us. So most of the times we do write for some equipments,
Okay.
like we do make some appeal. I think there was a time we make an appeal at the the the, the, the council there for some of these things that they are using, so that we can just use them after a certain period of time, then we bring them. I think there was another time we were struggling also with this kind of reflectors. We had to come together and see how best we can put our resources together. And I think we were able to gather something like 500 reflectors.
Okay.
Yeah, so with our own money. And so after which we were able to keep some of these things. But most of the time, the things that we are not able to get, we do write for requests like sponsors. Can you help us? We are not going to hold this thing in our possession forever. We just want to use some of these things and see how
How
best.
effective has that been?
Uh,
Like you asked for help and then
uh, it has not been that productive, but we have been managing. The issue of trust and other things are more involved, but we've been managing.
It's continue to stay with us in the studio. We want to quickly go and take another story in the program. We have some text messages in the program, but we want to quickly go and take another headline story. In a groundbreaking stride towards inclusivity and community-driven development, Christian Blind Mission (CBM) has ignited a transformative wave of change in Sierra Leone. Their recent empowering transformative wave of change, their recent empowering training session aimed to promote the active participation and inclusion of persons with disabilities in local community development in is set to define or redefine the landscape of inclusivity and equity in the region. Key stakeholders and partners converge to chart a path towards a more inclusive and equitable society where PWDs can fully participate in community development and access essential services. Let's hear the reports.
The participation and inclusion Persons with Disability Project, according to a country director for Mental Health Coalition, Recep na the leader for the Christian Blind Mission funded PLC project, Joshua Duncan, na one wey dey show the need for change. So Buklani business don dey go on at the country. One of the big challenge wey dem no try to address it in say na that people wey dey live with disability dey be left out when it comes to learning environment, teaching content, and learning material dem. Joshua Duncan himself but wetin dem dey hope for achieve at the end of the training.
Community-based inclusive development approach. It's the drive that we want people to know that the school community or the immediate environment has a role to play in terms of ensuring that children with disability go to school. Also bringing knowledge where there is ignorance, you realize the only way we could do a stopgap mechanism is to bring enlightenment into play. Is to bring knowledge of key actors, both government and non-government, teachers, healthcare workers, and the like, that there is this need that if children with disability are to go to school, this networking of service delivery, service provision, and accessibility is key to ensure that these actors are aware and are able to take deliberate steps, measurable, attainable, and sustainable steps that will help them to do well.
In continue say, key actors wey dem target include teachers, health workers, persons living with disabilities, government commission, and plenty other one dem, ranging from formal to non-formal entity dem. In say the Baptist Convention Sierra Leone and the Mental Health Coalition na key partner dem with the Christian Blind Mission as dem dey get couple on inclusive education and inclusive eye health.
Drive around inclusive education could also cater for children with visual impairment. Where comes in Baptist Convention? This convention could also reach out to children with eye problems and connect with us so that we can get them enrolled into schools, which is part of our own work. So we cannot say there is a separation around it. It's like a composite demand. Bread goes with butter, needle goes with thread, vehicle goes with fuel. That's the kind of marrying relationship that exists with us.
Joshua bin sef tok about the expectation from the one dem wey dem don get sabi to.
To cascade the knowledge they've received to their institutions in schools. Our drive is to ensure that school authorities begin to learn to take children with disability, provide reasonable accommodation for them, ensure that they train teachers in basic skills to maintaining children with disability, rather than assuming that these are difficult to deal with, systems to would they put in place to ensure that these children are well integrated and inclusions happen. School would look at it as a pointer for advocacy. That any new building that is raised in the school should have ramps for people to be able to access the classes.
Spencer Iyon tok, the project officer for the Christian Blind Mission sees inclusive high health care, say the issue around inclusiveness and comprehensiveness around the delivery of eye care service have been one of the most useful information for them during the training.
Because we are now undertaking an activity, a project activity for 10 years that seeks to integrate all classes of people into eye care service. We want to ensure that all people, irrespective of their age, their sex, their physical status, or religious background, every one of them should have access to eye care service. And so the concept of inclusiveness and the concept of comprehensiveness is very, very useful as far as trade is concerned.
We'll continue for talk, but how dem dey for incorporate the knowledge wey dem don gain from the training to dem different program and service dem wey dem dey render na the Baptist Convention eye care.
One of the things we intend to do is to embark on widespread sensitization, mobilization, and advocacy because once people know that the services are available at specific areas of the country that we are operating, then that will be the time they'll mobilize themselves to get access to this service. Because one of the things that the service has a limitation to inclusiveness healthcare service is limited information access. Not many people know exactly what is going on. We are doing our best actually to collaborate with the DHMTs and run facilities at grassroots level. We are going to intensify sensitization, mobilization, and advocacy so that the uptake of these services will increase and everyone will come on board.
Been carrying for share some of the specific success story there, how they show the benefits of the training for people who they live with disability.
The benefits of this project is that our facilities have been made more accessible. If you go to the Baptist Eye Hospital, you see that every part of the hospital cannot be accessible by people with disabilities. Now, if you look at the eye care centers that we are constructing in Tamakwe and Bongo, again, they follow that same pattern of accessibility, ensuring that disabled people living with disability can access our facilities. Then another good aspect of the project in terms of promoting inclusiveness is ensuring that our eye care team is mobile. We go to hard to reach areas to ensure that those who cannot come to us, we take eye care to them and make it very possible for them to benefit from the services.
The participants then that the training been get this for say.
This is Antigi Bangura, the business administrative officer. Frankly, there are two sets of sessions. The first one is community-based inclusive development, which is ensuring that people with disability are equally treated and footing for the general good of all. And the other section, which is the second section, we talk about inclusive eye health care. Currently, we look at three things. We look at inclusion, two, we look at integration, and three, we look at the completeness.
My name is Ramatu Sue, representing the Christian Union for the Blind and Visually Impaired. The most part of the session is when they talked about the inclusive education, because persons with disability will face difficulties in our place of learning, especially in the schools and colleges. Our organization will try to educate people around the community, especially those we live with and interact. We know how to handle persons with disability in different areas.
Reporting for HandsofHope Radio 100.5 FM, Mina Erika Ruth Bangura.
All right, welcome back. Well, we still have with us Joseph Vincent in the studio. Before we go for a short break and read out some of the text messages in the program, Vincent, are there any specific policy changes or legislative actions that you believe are necessary to support youth-led climate initiative in Sierra Leone?
Yeah, I think we do believe that if there are some policies that are put in place, like let's say when it comes to the country as a whole, not only youth-led organizations, policies put in place, I think we'll have a better ecosystem. That is to say, wherein we put security guards in some of these places, like we guide our forest. I think these are some of the things that will help us, and we guide our sea, if all what we are doing from this swampy areas go to the sea, I think it will not be ideal for fishes to live. I think we should be able to guide our sea and guide some of these places, the forest. People should not go there and cut some of these trees in their salvation test.
Right, there are these laws. So working in these communities, do you think that these laws are actually effective?
No, I think one thing that is very lacking is awareness.
Okay.
Not that Sierra Leoneans are not abiding, but like they lack awareness, and I think people who are responsible for these things are not doing like-minded. You understand? So if they have the awareness and they're able to put down and talk to, I think some of these things will not struggle with them, because what is the interest that you will get in just cutting down 4 trees, burning charcoal, and at the end of the day, how far would that money, you know, go with you? But if we have the mindset and idea that we need trees and trees also need us, I guess you know that it was what they give out, we take in, and what we take in, they give out, and so these trees can provide good atmosphere and good things for us. I think we more prefer to be alive and safe than using these trees for just our selfish interest.
Okay, continue to stay with us while we now relax and go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue the rest of the program.
Discover Hands of Hope Radio, your source of
The world is changing, and so are we. Young people everywhere want liberty. Join us every Saturday for an hour of glee on the Youth Advocate.
The Youth Advocates, bringing fun and education. Every Saturday at 4, tune in to our station. We discuss youth issues and possible solutions. The Youth Advocate is the perfect resolution.
Our program is informative but not boring. We talk about life and how we should be exploring. Join us on Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM or on our Facebook page. Our program will leave a lasting book.
The Youth Advocates,
Bringing fun and education. Every Saturday at 4, tune into our station. We discuss youth issues and possible solutions. The Youth Advocate is the perfect resolution.
To contribute or join in, we are just a call away. Dial 090-001-005 and we'll be there to stay. And for WhatsApp, dial 077-907-092 or 033-627-553. The Youth Advocate, your voice will be heard, a guarantee.
The Youth Advocate, bringing fun and education.
Every Saturday at 4, tune in to our station. We discuss youth issues and possible solutions. The Youth Advocate is the perfect resolution.
Live on Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM, the woman the radio.
Discover Hands of Hope Radio, your source of empowerment. Located at 28 Battery Street, Kingdom in Freetown, we are on a mission to inspire hope and enhance resilience in Sierra Leone and beyond. Our diverse programs and balanced discussions cover gender, environment, legal issues, civic matters, culture, and education. Connect with us on social media: Facebook Hands of Hope Radio, 100.5 FM The Umandem Radio, on YouTube Hands of Hope Radio, and Instagram at Hands of Hope Radio. Let's champion women and girls empowerment in Sierra Leone together.
Program today, 90 minutes, live on Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM in Freetown, and also on our Facebook page, Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM, the Umandem Radio, our YouTube channel, Hands of Hope Radio, and Instagram page at Hands of Hope Radio, where we have some few text messages in the program. I'll read them out. And the studio, I'll carefully pick the text messages, please. And this first text here, Amina from Kingdom. Joseph, you mentioned encouraging communities to use their waste for useful purposes. Can you give us some examples of how this has been implemented successfully in Sierra Leone? All right, and Akagbo from Dwazak is saying, very interesting. This is something where they continuously need for the top bots. Look, we get rain season in the country. Bitale rain with the camp, the place be warm. This all as a result of climate change. Priya would beg our government to put more emphasis on this. The law and kide, but they're not effective at all. Okay, and this from Isaac says from Kingdom again. I am interested in tree planting initiatives. How can individuals or local groups get involved in tree planting efforts led by the Youth Climate Action Network Sierra Leone? Okay, and this other person here says, you spoke about engaging young people. How do how do you ensure that your message resonates with them and motivates them to take action for the environment? because they are also huge contributors to climate change issue in the country. No name, no place. And another person here says, Joseph, you talk about for preserve the environment. You can share any story of how then conversation they may also don't lead to positive change in a specific area or neighborhood them. Okay, I'll take a few more and then you will respond. And Fatmata is saying recycling and using waste is very crucial. What are some practical tips for individuals who want to start turning their waste into something useful in their daily lives? Okay, and this other person is saying, I am concerned about the impact of climate change on agriculture because if we are to achieve one of the big five, which is to feed Sierra Leone, we need to address climate change or else it can't be achieved. How does the Youth Climate Action Network Sierra Leone support farming communities to adapt to changing climate conditions? This is Ahmed from Region 2. Okay, I think I'll stop here. You respond.
Yeah,
So,
great.
just feel.
I think the first question is encouraging people to use their waste in in another way that it can be beneficial to them. You know, like I said to you, we have some of these things that we we have biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. Okay, yeah. So the first thing we should have in mind, we should be able to distinguish, put these things like in different containers. Okay, like the biodegradable waste. These are the
What is,
waste.
oh yes,
These
what?
are the waste that can be refined, recycled. Okay, and some of this waste can give out gas, and gas has to do with we put this in a you find a container, find a tube which you can use. Let's say you have a this rubber that we are using during the
Ebola.
yeah, this Ebola rubber so stuff like that. So you have this kind of container, you use that pipe hole to service when you put this biodegradable waste, and after some time you cover it. You realize that it will give out gas. Some of this gas, there's a way in which you can process it that can give out clean energy instead of you using charcoal, burn charcoal, cut wood, and at the end of the day,
Can
you
you
realize,
tackle?
yeah, you can use it to cook. Yeah, this biodegradable waste, you can use it to cook. That is one of the SDGs, okay? Clean energy. And once we're able to drive to that direction, I think it will be way, way better for us. There are so many clean energy. And I was part of a symposium another day, and there was this lady who is making this stove, this wonder stove stuff. And she was submitting to us that you can use some of this coal. After using this coal, you use this ash. You know this ash.
Yes.
You put it when it's stubby. You make an potter, like you make an boiled stone. After which you dry it, and there's a way you can process it and give it some few ingredients or so, and after which you can light up your stove again instead of using charcoal all the time. After you use the charcoal, when the charcoal has already turned to ash, you use it and you refine it, and you can use it one bag of charcoal for maybe more than 2 to 3 months. And all of this can reduce the way at which we use some of this waste. And for the non-biodegradable waste, like for the rubber, the plastics, we put them together quantitatively. Once they are like in a huge container, we can sell best people who are in need of it. We give these things to the right people for recycling and other things. I think that can, instead of throwing them to the pits and at the seaside, and after which you realize that it will cause more harm than good to the ocean. Yeah, and the other thing somebody make mention of has to do with how can individual involve in youth, okay, in our organization.
Yes.
Like one of the things we are very good at is like encouraging other organizations, social bestie can be partakers of these things because this is the only planet we have. and we cannot do this all by ourselves. But having people come together quantitatively, we discuss issues, we find out challenges from various communities. So there is a way, there's a possibility. You just need to reach out to us or you ask for our contact, and after which there are a lot of trainings, there are a lot of workshops and projects which are on board. Because due to the election, that was why we put so many things on hold. But we are trying to see how best we can start again most of these things. And another person make mention of um, how did you ensure that your message resonates
Yeah.
with them? Okay, to take action. Well, we are doing our own part too. Yeah, we are doing our own part. If it has to do with youth, then we are seeing like we are we are making every conscious effort to see how best we can get to young people.
Okay.
Yes. After we get them, we say our best, we encourage them, we talk to them. Like sometimes we make a after getting some set of young people, we admonish them. Okay. But for stakeholders, for it to reach stakeholders, not that they're not listening, not that they don't know what to do, but it is at their own I don't know, it's at their own position or their own point to see how best they can barge into some of these things or either they need not to barge in. But it's a need and in the next 10 years, we'll experience more climate change, more heat, more than ever before. So I think this is something most of the youth-led organizations should work towards. Instead of this advocacy and other things, other things, other things, the world is not getting better every day. So what we need to do is to focus on how we can make the world a better place.
Right. So let me quickly go to the
Yeah.
Facebook page. You've responded to.
Okay. I think okay.
Yeah, it's on our Facebook page. Jumbo Stasile is saying what the guest is saying should be incorporated into our civic education. We need more of these things. Thank you too. And says climate change is a serious issue and I think more attention should be placed on it. So back to our SMS and this person here, Hawa is saying, planting trees is a fantastic initiative. What are some of the benefits of tree planting in Sierra Leone, both for the environment and the communities? And I also think you forget to respect to agriculture
Yeah.
area. Yes, and this other person here says, how can people who may not have the resources or access to join organized initiatives still make a positive impact in their communities when it comes to environmental preservation? This is from um, Abraham. Abraham at tree planting. Okay. And this person here say, you mentioned the importance of communication. What are some creative ways your organization uses to effectively communicate with communities and engage them in climate action? Because we are in the age of the digital. What strategies do you use to utilize that? The last one I will take, Sir, say in terms of long-term impact, what is your vision for the future of youth-led environmental efforts in Sierra Leone, and how can individuals support this vision? Because it's not a one-man thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think okay. The first thing I need to submit is that this has to do with my area of study. I'm a geologist, okay, and so the first thesis that I wrote was has to do with floods and precipitation and other things.
Okay.
Okay, so the first message that I left behind was that how can you what use this thing? Okay, I've already explained that agricultural purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, the question has to do with how can agriculture be of greater sense?
Yeah, the person says, I'm concerned about the impacts of climate change on agriculture because if we are to achieve the big five, one of the big five feeds Sierra Leone, we need to address climate change issue. How does Youth Climate Action Network Sierra Leone support farming communities to adapt to changing climate conditions?
Okay, so one way we support farming communities, like I told you, There are some things we also need, even though these are not things that we do eat also. But if the farmers are in the position to plant most of these things in their communities, I think we can able to get a better environment. Like they don't just need to do deforestation. They don't just need to cut down trees. They need to plant. And if you cut down one tree, you need to plant two trees.
Okay.
Yes, that's one thing that can help in the agriculture sector. You know, if we're able to see our best, we can say, let's watching some of these videos in China, you realize that um they use some of these mountains also. I think in Sierra Leone, we only do agriculture in just lowland communities and other places. In China and other places, you realize that they use the mountains to plant some of this rice, and so they need to they have a way in which they can make the mountain do kind of way preferable for them to do agricultural purposes. And once these places have agricultural thing, like we have this kind of fresh air. Yes, we have this kind of fresh air, and it can reduce the rates at which the climate change some of these areas. You find out that the temperature there is very cold. It's because there are high amounts of trees in those areas. So once a community is able to produce more trees, plant more trees, then you realize that the community will be very, very cool, and it will be very handy for people to live.
Okay.
So I think one can be part of this campaign, not only by reaching us. If you want to reach us, then you can be part of this journey, and we can also share some good ideas. But you can be part of this journey from your community, from your town, by just planting trees, bringing the seeds together every week, and see how best you can dispose them in some areas. And I believe
All right.
Sierra can be
So
somewhere
let me
too.
go back. So I'll jump in some text messages. Okay. And this one from Asan saying, Joseph, your dedication to the environment is truly inspiring. Keep up the good work. And this other person says, I love the idea of using waste for something useful. It's not only environmentally friendly, but can also be economically empowering for communities. And this other person here says, Joseph, could you share any success stories of waste recycling projects that have made a significant impact to Sierra Leone? And this other person here says, I appreciate your efforts in promoting tree planting. Trees are vital for our ecosystem and can help combat climate change. Sulaiman is saying, Joseph, your message about involving young people is spot on. The youth are the future and their passion can drive change. And Aminata from Englandville, it's heartwarming to hear about your work with communities. Building awareness and partnerships is key to making a difference. And Maria too said, I'm curious about the challenges you face in your work. How do you overcome obstacles to achieve your goals? Okay, so let me stop here.
So I think the fourth thing that has to do with a success story. If you're not informed, you will be misinformed. You understand? So once you're informed, like community level, once you're informed, you understand, like you can make the change. And there are a lot of success stories that I've seen that not only from my organization, like the lady that I told you about, who is making this wonder stove from just these things. And so there are a lot of success story at which you realize even if you're not planting more trees, but as much as you're able to be within that circumference of doing the right thing in the community, that is to say, you're not like when you have this kind of waste in your community, like you start burning them, you just put them in a hole for them to get rot, and after which you do the right thing. You can realize that those community can be very, 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 very like the ozone layer can be very, very clean and decent, like considering that of Kabbalah. You realize that Kabbalah is very, very nice. Even the weather there, you realize that wow, Kabbalah is nice. Even though you cannot say Kabbalah has the most highest trees in Sierra Leone, but they are not doing like opposites, like cutting down trees and all that thing. So you realize for the next 10 to 20 years, Kabbalah will still be cool. The reason being because they are buying into some of these things. So these are some success stories. If we're able to put ourselves in that direction to do the right thing, you see the change, okay, in some of these things. And also what the other person said was
I think they were just complimenting
so
the
okay
work.
in making this thing an awareness. I think I do submit it in one of this symposium that I attend, and there was this girl in Canada.
Mhm.
I've already, the name has already escaped me. She started the FFF campaign, which is a Friday for Future campaign. That is to say, every Friday they need to do the right, they need to plant trees. And so there was a Friday, I think in Canada, yes, 18 years old guy, yes, they start planting, they have these placards and other things, raising awareness in schools. So we can equally do that in schools. We can equally do that in our colleges. We can equally do that in our communities. Like we find a day, it cannot be FFF Friday for Future because we use a day for our future so that the future will be very ideal. Okay, so we can find a suitable day or a day in the month wherein we can have a campaign in all of these institutions. We are all products of the community we are in. So you can go back to your community and say, no, this thing that we are doing is not ideal. Can we do it this way? No, we should not be burning these things in these areas. What if we have trash cans wherein we can put some of this waste and then after we dispose them? I think that can be helpful. Once you're not informed, you'll be misinformed and you do the wrong thing. So once we're able to get the right people or we're able to engage people up there, then we can get people from our communities as well.
All right, we're running off the program. A lot of people were inspired. So, for any young person listening to you or maybe inspired by your work, what advice or call to action would you give to them to become actively involved in the fight against climate change and contribute to resilience efforts in Sierra Leone?
So I would just like say this. Obama said this some years ago. We are the first generation to experience the effects of climate change, and we are the last generation to do something about it. You know, there are other species who have came into existence and they have gone to extinction. But for we, our own species, I think this phenomenon will continue, you know. So we are the first to experience this climate change heat. And so we have everything in our power to do the right thing. So it takes you, it takes me to do the right thing. Because when you consider the rate at which these industries and other factories are giving so much of this CO2 thing, it's more likely that the Western world are producing more than us, but we are having the same effects. So we should not just based on to see how best we can do some of these things, but also we can reach out on social media. They are the ones creating some of these things for us. So if we're able to raise the concern in social media, like 2, 3 countries or so many young politicians are able to reach out to some of these things, I think they will increase the rates at which they support Africa in some of these things and to see how best we can do the right thing. So for me, it's a good thing that we are the first generation to experience this, and this will continue. So one thing we need to do is to see how best we can continue to make this known, enlighten people. We embark on reforestation, that is, we plant trees where there are trees, and afforestation. We look at the roadsides, like what they are doing at the Wilberforce and other places. We plant tree, we embark on afforestation. That is to say, we plant trees where there are not trees. And trust me, we'll have a good ecosystem to live in.
All right, many thanks to you for taking your time to talk to us in the program this morning. Well, that's all in today's edition of the program today, 90 minutes, live on Hands of Radio 100.5 FM. Many thanks to the executive producer, Madam Mary Kaifona. Many thanks to our studio guest, Joseph Vincent, who is the communication director for the Youth Climate Action Network Sierra Leone for helping us discuss on the topic Youth-led solutions for climate change resilience in Sierra Leone. Many thanks to our social media operator, Emeka Bangura, and to you for listening and sending in your text messages. If we didn't read out your text message, we apologize. Don't forget you can call us on 090 001005 or 078 16 24 61 if you want to know more about our programs. Join us to move on the edition of our daily current affairs program. Continue to stay tuned to HandsofHope Radio. I've been your presenter, Erica with Bangor.
It's early in the morning, but we are feeling just fine. Today, in 90 minutes, get us
We
all
cover
in
the
line.
issues from all across the land. Our team of experts provides views oh so grand. From politics to sports and everything in between. You won't miss a thing when you listen to us. It's clear and keen.
So there in 19 minutes, the Current Affairs Show. Join us every weekday from 7 to 8:30 we know. We bring the latest news and analysis too.
Just tune in to Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM. It's the thing to do.
To be a part of the show, drop us a message or two. Just send a text to 090 001 005. Will come through, or leave a comment on our Facebook page. With Today in 19 minutes, you will be the sage. Today in 19 minutes, the Current Affairs Show. Join us every weekday from 7 to 8:30 we know. We bring the latest news and analysis too.
Just tune in to Hands of Hope Radio 100.5 FM.
The woman